This is the second part of lecture 8, and in this part we will learn about the things that need to be done to maintain personal hygiene, okay, to ensure food safety. So what those things are, or what should be done to maintain personal hygiene? These things: by controlling the disease, by ensuring the cleanliness, by providing proper education and training to the working personnel, and by proper supervision. Okay, so first, disease control. Okay, so humans are considered as potential source of foodborne pathogens. We already know that. So anyone who is sick, or, who have like wounds such as boils, sores, okay, or who are carrier of certain pathogens, they should not be allowed to work in the food plant, especially in the food processing area. Okay, and so this need to be prevented. I mean, these people with this kind of things, they need to be prevented to work in the food processing area. So how this can be prevented or controlled? There are by doing routine questions or physical examinations. Okay, so employees should be regularly asked whether they have any physical problem. Okay, and also, I mean, asking is not enough always. Okay, so there should be routine physical checkup or examination facilities. Okay, so routinely, I mean, regularly, the employee should be checked for chronic illness or infection, okay, or whether they have any upper respiratory tract infection, any skin disease, or wound, etc. Okay, okay, so this was the disease control. Then cleanliness is very important to ensure proper hygiene, okay, in the food processing plant. So like appearance, the employee should maintain a clean appearance, okay, and clothing, they should wear clean clothes, okay, and especially they should wear protective outer clothing, protective outer clothing, okay, and these clothes should not be wear outside the food processing plant. Okay, so it should not be that you are wearing this outer clothing and moving around in the street, in the bazaar, in the restaurants. Okay, it cannot be done. Okay, so this outer protective clothing should be exclusive for the food processing plant, that is the area where the food is processed. Okay, and I mean, during working, if if the clothes get contaminated by the soils, okay, they should be immediately removed in the, okay, they should be immediately changed. Okay, and also sometimes different color coded clothes are used in for different area of a food processing plant. Actually, it helps to prevent cross contamination. So for example, the persons who work in the raw materials area, raw materials usually contain high amounts of contaminations. Okay, so if the same persons work in the raw material processing area, and also in the product processing area, okay, so there is a high chance that they will contaminate the food. Okay, so that's why in the industry, and in the industry, how you will track down that who work in the, I mean, lots of people are working there, so it's difficult to understand, right? So it's difficult to point out who work in the raw materials area and who work in the like finished product or the during the processing area. So like, so it's, if it's difficult to locate them, it's difficult to prevent. So sometimes color coded dress are used. So different color coded dress for the raw materials area workers, different for the finished product area workers, etc. So in that case, it's very easy to control. Okay, to control the unnecessary or unnecessary movement, okay, in among different areas. And also, I mean, visitors may come to visit your plant. In that case, different color coded dress are also assigned for the visitors. Okay, then hand washing. Well, the hand washing is a very important things that must need to be ensured in the plant. Okay, because inadequate hand washing can cause frequent contamination. Okay, so it is essential, And the actually for hand washing there is guidelines that when we should wash and how we should, I mean when and how the worker should wash their hands. Okay, such as for example, one hands need to be washed immediately before working with food, and immediately after using the toilet or handling the rubbish or waste, after smoking, after coughing, sneezing. Okay, have to you should use the tissue when we sneeze, and also we should, after that we should immediately wash our hands. Okay, so after eating, drinking, smoking, or after touching hair or scalp or the mouth. Okay, so after these activities hands should be cleaned immediately. Okay, should be washed immediately, and if necessary soap and even sanitizer should be used. Okay, and for washing, warm water which is between this temperature 32 to 40 degrees Celsius is better. Okay, so one thing is warmer water is comfortable for us, and also like in many sanitizers or cleaning agents they are more effective in warmer water than cold water. Okay, then hand gloves. Okay, so in many plant for I mean in many plant people wear the disposable gloves before during they prepare the food, but that even we wear the hand gloves. One thing is important in this case, because I mean it's actually psychological. Whenever people wear the gloves they think that okay, now I am safe. I mean I am safe, and also I am not contaminating the food by my hands. Okay, so when I am wearing the gloves, but the thing is gloves also can frequently get contaminated. Okay, and they can finally contaminate the foods. So gloves should be removed or changed as instructed or whenever it is necessary. Like for example, I'm wearing gloves and working, but suddenly I touch the dust. Okay, or I have to touch the waste, or I just touched my skin, or okay, so or mouth or nose, so I should change it immediately. Okay, hair. Hair can contaminate the food. Both, I mean, hair itself can contaminate the food. I think you all aware of these things. Okay, we frequently found hair in the food, and it's irritating, right? I mean, when we find hair in our home, it's maybe okay, it's fine. But if we found hair in the restaurants, oh, it's bad, right? If we suppose you buy something from the supermarkets and came home and opened the package of that food and you found hair on it, it would be very disgusting or irritating thing, right? So all the employees, okay, they should take necessary measures to prevent hair contamination. And not only the hair can the microbes can also contaminate the food through hair. Okay, so proper measurements or proper clothes such as like hair caps or hair cap coverings, beard coverings. Okay, so this kind of or caps, so this kind of clothes should be I mean weared by the I mean the employee should wear this kind of clothes to prevent contamination through hair. Okay, jewelry. So it's actually, I mean, in many plant, wearing jewelry is prohibited. I mean, if you're working inside the in the processing area, you should not wear the jewelry, because one thing is I mean, the microbes can contaminate the food through jewelry, and also jewelry are usually loose. Okay, so they can easily detach from you and can go into the food, and it can be dangerous, devastating, right? But say you are wearing a metal jewelry and somehow it got into the food, so it can be very risky, right? That okay, so and I mean contamination through jewelry is frequent. Okay, if the employee are allowed to wear jewelry in the processing plant, so it's actually always prohibited. Okay, personal habits. Okay, so several personal I mean all those personal habits should be prevented, by which the food can get contaminated, such as smoking, chewing the gums, spitting, drinking, eating. This kind of things are prohibited inside the processing area. Okay, and also like not only these things, so also enough measures should be taken to protect the food from contaminants such as perspiration or cosmetics. Okay, so the cosmetics we are also can contaminate the food, so these things also need to be prevented. Okay, and then restroom is a very important part of a plant, and actually restroom is very important for everywhere. Okay, there should be adequate restroom in every facilities, like also in the food processing plants. Okay, adequate number, sufficient number of restrooms should be there, and the restrooms or washrooms should be constructed with ceramic tiles and with the materials which are easy to clean. Okay, and they should be cleaned frequently as instructed in the guidelines. Okay, and lockers should be all the lockers should be clean, neat and well ventilated. Okay, and food should not be stored in the lockers, because if we store the food in the lockers, this food can contaminate the clothes, and these clothes can contaminate the food product. Okay, then another method to control food contamination: education and training. Okay, so you actually already know that the employee, they should properly trained, and retraining is also necessary. Okay, and during this training, and I mean this training can be provided by various ways. So actually, this kind of training should be like not should this should be not boring. I mean, so you should use many different kind of materials to provide this training, such as posters, slogans, information sheets, contests. I mean, you should use many different materials which has lots of visual things there, like pictures. Okay, so this kind of training, I mean this kind of things, so you have to use those kind of materials that struck your employees mind. Okay, so and in this training, definitely you should train them how to maintain hygiene. Okay, like how to wash the hands, or what kind of protective gears they should wear. But telling only these things to the employee is not enough. Actually, it's not. I mean, if you just train your employee with this kind of things, that how they should maintain the hygiene, what they should do, these are not enough. Okay, to ensure proper hygiene. So the training materials should include the pathogens. Okay, so include the hazards, that what is foodborne disease. So what kind of pathogens can I mean, what kind of pathogens can cause what kind of foodborne diseases or illness, or what can be the consequences, how deadly those can be. Okay, so that you should train the employees with all these things, because unless they learn about the harmful or dangerous effect of the foodborne disease, they will not be concerned enough to maintain the hygiene programs. Okay, so the training, the training module should include all these things. Okay, and finally, supervision. Okay, supervision is very important. I mean, you ensure that you're ensuring the disease control, proper cleanliness, and you are doing enough training and retraining. Okay, but after that, you should supervise. Okay, supervision is most important. Okay, so I mean, it's, you can say it's kind of human nature. Okay, if they are not supervised regularly, sometimes people, I mean, it's our we human, and it's our natural tendency that we want to just escape. Okay, okay, I'll not wash the hands this time properly. Okay, I just washed in the morning. So this kind of things actually happens, and also sometimes, like say for example, I was trained by a hygiene program maybe 6 months before or 1 year before. Okay, so it can happen that I forget that those totals, I forget the exact or adequate SOPs. Okay, so or working principles. So maybe I can make mistake during working. Okay, or even like, so the guidelines are usually there. Even the guidelines are there, people may, I mean, it's people may not following the guidelines properly. So everything need to be supervised. Okay, So and the supervision is done by, there are actually designated personals. Okay, so like sanitation or plant supervisors or sanitation managers, okay, food safety managers, they do this kind of supervisions. Okay, and not only they ensure that whether all the guidelines or the procedures are properly followed by the employees, they also should check the employees whether they are sick. Okay, so if are suffering any illness or suffering any infection, so if the employees they are sick or suffering any infection, suffering from any infection, they should be prevented or removed from the those, like especially the critical control areas. Critical control areas means from, like for example, food processing areas. Okay. Okay, so like the I'm not sure about the current situation of our country, but in the, especially in the developed countries, so these supervisors, right, the sanitary supervisors or food safety supervisors, okay, they should have some certain trainings, professional trainings. Okay, so if you google, if you search the training programs, and actually there are many different training programs around the world. Okay, so in every, if you google it, if you search that training program for the sanitation, food sanitation manager or food safety manager, you will find different program module. Okay, so sometimes actually in the developed country, the many companies, they ask that the person who are going, I mean, who want to get recruited as a food safety manager, they should have these trainings. Okay. Okay, so that was all about lecture 8. Thank you for your patience.